It's there! Holy moly, this one's going to go big.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. I am now done with anything that says it is compensated in the world of gambling. That phrase there, this game is compensated and may be influenced by previous play, just says to me that by accident or by design, it will not work properly and it will be fuckable. Now, these exist, of course, in the pubs. This is a compensated machine. That's Party Time that I played as part of that 2-day session with Boulder Dash a couple of months ago. That one is compensated. Now, when you're playing machines on cabinets in the pubs, they can be either compensated or random. I have heard a few things, not particularly the details, and honestly I didn't want to pursue them. A few people have got in touch with me privately that apparently there is nonsense on these relatively simple compensated games that you can find on pub cabinets, be they £100 jackpot in the UK or £500 jackpot as we get here on the Isle of Man. It's kind of a slightly moot point for me now, because as per the kicking that I took in that video there, which was the destroyed in the pub video, that was just a few weeks ago now, I'm now done with them. I'm not playing these horrible low RTP big stake machines in the pub, be they compensated or random. The other thing with these as well, which I think is really, really awful, and I've always objected to it, I don't like it at all, is that they all have something like that where they will induce you to play on the big £2 stake. Not only do they give you more RTP, but say, oh, if you don't play on £2 a spin, you're going to miss out on extra bonus symbols or extra respins or whatever it may be. So at a basic level now, I do not trust anything that says that it is compensated. Let's just go back to that screen there. Wherever I see those words, I'm out, I'm done. Compensation to me simply means broken. Now, going back in the day, of course, that meant compensated fruit machines, which have existed forever and ever and ever. But that word compensation has now moved on to the digital games on the digicabs in the pubs. And obviously they were part of that trip away that I did to Scotland last year, where we still found some fruit machines in the pubs there as well. Or when I was away in the UK a couple of years ago for all the stuff going on with my dad, some of the games on the cabinets in the pubs there would say on the help screen that they were compensated. In fact, there's just a little text box on the screen there, because I was calling this one random, then I checked the rules and it said, oh, this game is compensated and maybe influenced by previous play. And here over at Desert Island Fruit, on the thread for the cheating attract mode video, that conversation has run on there. We've now up to 228 replies, as you can see there. And moving towards the end of that one, some of the guys there got into a fairly involved conversation about low-techs as well, and some of the stuff that you could do on low-techs, particularly bullion bars and some others, where they had multiple pots going on. This is even on a low-tech, where you could manipulate certain things to happen, hold off taking wins out of one pot to flow over into another pot, and then you could take them all back to back and leave an absolutely battered machine in your wake. So even without stuff like the attract motel that was in Union Jackpot, you'd think that a low-tech would be a reasonably fair proposition if you didn't know what you were doing. But I have heard this over the years. It's not something that I've ever particularly pursued, because essentially we had no arcades on the Isle of Man past the £25 era. One of them literally just limped into the £25 era almost by a matter of weeks. One of them lasted for maybe a year or so after the £25 jackpot came in, and that was that. We never had low-techs in the pub, so the low-tech fruit machine just wasn't a thing on the Isle of Man. Certainly going into the £35 era when all the bullion bars and stuff turned up. I have been aware of it over the years, but the conversation here went into some pretty in-depth stuff about how you could mess around with various low-techs, particularly bullion bars and others, where they had these multiple pots going on and you could dick about with them. The point being that you can walk up to a simple-looking low-tech and still get absolutely destroyed if you don't know what you're doing. So my core point now is I'm done with anything that says compensated. I will play compensated machines in the emulator. I'll enjoy them in the emulator. I'll continue to make videos about them in the emulator. But anything, anywhere that says that it's compensated, I will now completely boycott, because that says to me this fucking thing will not work properly, because the person behind it will have either made a mistake or they will have put something fishy into it, or even if just by design you will be able to manipulate around different pots or different stakes or whatever it may be to create things that leave other people who just want to walk up and have a bit of a gamble and play a fair game, those people are going to get screwed. I personally do not think that should be allowed. I don't think compensated games should be a thing at all. It is a watchword for stuff going wrong, and it has been for decades. I'm slightly amazed that compensated games are still allowed, but we are where we are, so let's deal with the world as it is. And for me, that means finding other ways to have a gamble that do not involve going anywhere near compensated games. I'm far too old now to be fucking around chasing bits of information and methods that may or may not work and getting half bits of information from one place and another. If I want to have a little bit of a gamble, I just want to have a simple, fair gamble where I don't have to do decades of research and tap 25 contacts for information just to make sure that I'm not going to get butt-fucked by the simple process of having something that should be easy, straightforward and fair. And for me, that means random games. Let's do stuff that's random, find high RTP, random games that can give you a decent run for your money. And also, this is the other thing that I was looking for, is can you still get like a UK fruit machine aesthetic, but have the fairness and high RTP of a random game? That, for me, would be perfect, because it'll feel a little bit like playing an old-fashioned fruit machine. I won't have to worry about all the compensation bollocks, and I can still have a fun, fair game with a high RTP. Well, the good news is that such a thing does exist. And it's these fellas here. Now, I am at video slots here at the moment, so you may have to look around for these at your online casino of choice, but there's a provider called Realistic, and they make UK fruit machine themed random games. So let me just fire one of them up that I'm sure we're all going to recognise, which is this fella here, Bar X. Now, this is properly licensed from Electrocoin. They have got the proper license for this. You'll see that when it loads in. There we are. And if you have a look at the help file for this, it will tell you. In fact, it's at the top there. Can you see? Bar X, OXO and Electrocoin are registered trademarks of Electrocoin Automatics Limited 2020. And if you leave it for a bit, it even goes into a little attract mode there as well. So you can see that that is a really nice representation of an actual Bar X machine. You can have a cab style view or a zoomed in view like that. Now, to be clear here, this is a random game. So if we go to the rules here, or info rather, this game is random. The expected return for this game is 96%, and it shows you the rules there. I'll just go through those, because one of the things you might think off the top of your head is, how do you do a fruit machine and make it random? Well, the answer to that, and it's as per that video that I made about, hang on a minute, let's zoom that down a little bit. It's as per the video that I made there, which was the random games have RTPs, but they can still do shady things. And what they have done here is essentially this is a scratch card style game. And do you remember the spreadsheet that I had in there? Degsy's big spreadsheet of results. If you haven't seen that video, it might be worth checking that one out. But the basic principle here is that this is a spreadsheet game or a balls out of the bag game. Essentially what they've done here is create a pool of results. Let's call it 1 million just for ease of numbers. They've put 1 million balls into the bag, and each of those balls corresponds to a certain sequence playing out. It is essentially a jamming jars style game. It's like a different front end on jamming jars. Jamming jars, of course, famously was a ball out of the bag, a spreadsheet style game confirmed by Push Gaming, who wrote it, who said we put 1.2 million balls into the bag, and every time you pull a ball out the bag, you're seeing a predetermined sequence. The ball out of the bag pick is completely random and fair. Everything that you see after that is a pre-scripted sequence, and that's exactly the same principle that this works on. So if they put 1 million balls into the bag and you play it on £1 a go, after 1 million goes, you will have won. If you pull every single ball out the bag without putting it back in, you will have won £960,000, or rather lost £40,000. But in reality, what happens is every time you pull a ball out the bag, the game shows you what that ball has on it in terms of a win or a loss or whatever, and plays the pre-scripted sequence, and then it puts the ball back into the bag. You can see that really clearly here, because this game has nudges and holds, but it makes it super, super clear. Hold on win. 1 or 2 holds may randomly be offered after a nudged or straight-in win, blah, blah. Look at that. It says holds may be pressed, but this is purely cosmetic. The game cannot be started without holding the win. And there's also a nudge feature where you get your 3 nudges. And there's a similar thing there where it says if a win is missed, the autoplay will rewind and automatically nudge the best combination. So this is absolutely just a spreadsheet game. And the way that they have done that is the same as any other spreadsheet style game, where they've put X number of balls into the bag, and then the balls in the bag add up to whatever they want the RTP to be, which in this case is 96%. So what we have here, and you will see this now when I start playing it, I've got £100 of real money. What you will see here is that this gives a very realistic feeling. There we are. This gives a very realistic feeling. Fruit machine, but is also random and pays out with a 96% RTP. So let's kick it off. Now I am going to go in here on 20p spins. And one thing that I will say straight away is if you're going to have a go on these, watch out for them. As that now it will do it all by itself. Is there a bar up there? No, there isn't. It can do hold after nudges. It hasn't. No. So what you've got to think about here is every time you see that number, can you see my autoplay number on the right hand side? Every time you see that number decrease, that is me paying the price of... Oh, there's a £2 win. Let's see if it holds. It hasn't. It's just paid it into the bank. So every time that number decreases, the game takes 20p off me. It pulls a ball out of the bag, and then everything after that point is the pre-scripted sequence that corresponds to that ball out of the bag. What you will also notice, and again it makes this clear in the rules, is that, for example, if you get a hold after a win, it won't take a credit. So obviously on a real fruit machine version of this, if it holds, it's going to take a credit. Like, you will get the hold and the next win on the next credit. And particularly, of course, for a jackpot, because you can only get one jackpot per credit on a fruit machine. So it has to credit break and then give you the hold for the win. Online machines do not have that restriction. And again, that is made crystal clear in the rules. So as long as you are okay with the fact that this is a random game and you understand that essentially there is no player choice here. If you miss a win by nudging in, if you do the nudges yourself and do it wrong, it'll rewind it and do it for you. If you don't hold a win, it won't let you carry on. You have to hold the win before it will let you carry on. It also means, of course, that you can't do bullion bars. Oh, is there a bar up there? Oh, no, there isn't. We want to hold after nudges. Come on. Ah, no. No, hold after nudges. So you can't fuck around with this. You can't manipulate the pots. You can't do anything like that on this. You will just get what you're given. So if you're one of those people who did know how to fuck about with the low text, there will be nothing for you here, because every single spin here, the game is just picking a fresh ball out of the bag. So you can't mess about with this, but you are getting a 96% RTP, and you are also getting a fair and random game. There is no win there. It's going to go for the X's. It's a little bit mean, I found, with holds after nudges. Now, is there a bar? I don't think there is a bar up there. Is there? No, come on, hold after nudges, hold after nudges. No hold after nudges. One thing is here that these are pretty lumpy. So obviously we've got X's there. Now this is, I'm going to show you more because there's more of these. There's a few of these. And this is probably the lowest volatility out of all of them. This is the tamest one because your X's are 10 times stake and your jackpot is 50 times stake. But that still leads to a pretty lumpy game. This one also can't hold very much either. What I'll just show you is if we just go into the rules again, it will tell you. Can you see there at the current bet value, the maximum payout in any one game is 30 quid. So what that means is you can get bars and then it will hold twice. It does make that clear there. You can get sequences of wins or holds, but either way, you can never get, hang on a minute, I pressed the wrong thing there. You can never get more than 30 quid out of a single spin. Now that doesn't mean that if you just had, let's just hold after nudges. Fucker. That doesn't mean if you've just had the 30 quid, it can't pay another 30 quid shortly after that or immediately after that. Remember, this is not compensated. The random number generator doesn't care if it's just paid you that 30 quid, but do be aware that that's limited. Now, again, you can do that with a random game. It just means that that's how they've defined it. Think back to the spreadsheet in that other video that I did, or the bag of balls analogy, whichever you prefer. It just means that that's how they've defined these wins on the back end. There is not a bar up there, is there? I can see an X. Come on, we could do with a hold after nudges here on the jackpot. We haven't had it again. Let's just leave it going. Then I will show you some of the others. I'm going to start with this one, though, because this is... There isn't a bloody thing up there either, is there? Come on, could do with a hold after nudges here. For a tenner? It does do it, but it's a little bit mean. In my experience, it's quite mean on the holds after nudges. It will always do the best thing, and if you did it manually, it won't let you do like the non-best thing. So if X's are on, and you try and go for a hold after nudges for bars, it won't let you do that. It will just rewind and nudge in the X's. So you've got no control over what happens. But if, like me, I would not know, I wouldn't have a clue. If you put me in front of, say, a bullion bars, I wouldn't have a clue of how to fuck with that. I would just be having a go on it as a random punter. So I don't actually want that to be fuckable. What I want is to have a fair game where I've got a decent chance of winning. So to me, it makes no difference really. Oh, there we are. It's just dropped straight in. Look at that. Now that's a tenner. Now this can hold twice. This can hold twice. So to me, it makes no difference because I don't know how to do the compensated one. I don't know how to recognise the sequences on this one. So the end result to me is basically the same. You're looking for the hold. If it starts to add it to the bank, it's not held. It's not held. If it doesn't hold, there we go. So that's a £10 jackpot. So for me, now there we are. And that's the autoplay trigger. And we'll just start it again. So for me, it actually makes no difference because the end result, to my perception of playing this game, I would not know any different if I were playing a compensated version of this. The only possible result that I would have in playing a compensated one of these is that it would be worse for me, because if it was fuckable with, I wouldn't know how to fuck with it. So not only would I be playing a lower RTP game, because you're not going to find games set to 96% RTP in an arcade or a pub. Let's see if it holds. We haven't done very well on holds here. Come on. Oh, there we are. Now it's doing the free spin thing. Now this one is capped. I think it's 3 free. It might do another one. There we are. So this is like a win sequence. I think that might be all this one can do, actually. I think this one can only do 2. But you see there, I'm back up to £100 now. So it will carry on. So for me, this actually works better. This is preferable to me because I'm getting a far higher RTP. I wouldn't know how to fuck with it if it was compensated anyway. And there is a risk that when I do play one of these that's compensated, or if I were to, I would just be the arsehole who was filling it up because I didn't know any better. We've not done well here. I'd just like to see a hold after nudges. Let's just see if we can get a hold after nudges. And then I'll move on. What I found with these is that I love to have these running off to the side. I'm currently replaying through Cyberpunk 2077. Since I got my new graphics card, I'm doing a second playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077 because I can get all the path tracing stuff turned on now, and it looks like the single most amazing video game I have ever seen in my entire life. So I'm playing that on my main PC. But what I like to have off to the corner where I've got my games consoles and stuff set up on the big telly is I'll have one of these running over there as well with enough volume so I can kind of hear it, and then I'll look over when I hear it adding in a win, I can hear the nudges or whatever and see what it does next. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily... I'm not sure these... Come on, hold after nudges. Fucking hell, we're not doing well on the holds after nudges here. I'm not sure it would, like, captivate you necessarily to just watch it if you weren't doing anything else, but I find them entertaining enough as a sort of side activity, and I enjoy the fact that they have that fruit machine. This is identifiably a Bar X, like, out of an arcade. It looks like the sort of machine that you would find in a UK arcade. I won't stick on this one too long. We'll just give it one more chance at a hold after nudges. We haven't done very well on the hold after nudges, but do bear in mind here that this is probably, I would say, out of the several of these games that they have, I would say that this is the lowest volatility, but it can still be... Oh, Barca, can you see how it still can do a lot of dead spins? There can be many, many dead spins on this. Oh, sorry, I'm just having a swig of coffee there. Let's just see if we can get... Come on, baby. They can go dead for a long time, these. Just be aware, by the way, that this is the tame one. If you're going to play these, for the love of God, don't, like, deposit £100 and go in on £1 spins, because there's a couple of the ones that I'm going to show you next. They can and will do 100 dead spins. They will go 100 credits without paying anything. And if you're on a £1 spin, that's £100 gone, and you won't get a single... Oh, I'll stop it there. Go on. Right, we'll load in the next one. And what we're going to move on to now is Super Bar X. And one thing that you might notice here when we go in, I'll just draw your attention to, is that you actually get to choose your pay table on this. There. So your X's always pay 20 times, but then your bars are 40, 50 or 60. Now, you might think, why wouldn't you just pick the 60? It's got a bigger jackpot, but that's an indication of the volatility. What it's offering you here are, that's on the lower side, that's on the more medium side, and that's on the higher side, because those bigger prizes are going to be rarer. The RTP is identical for all of them. We're going to go in on the spicy one, which is 60x. There we are, and you've got exactly the same thing going again in terms of your view options. You also get, see there, 96%. The game rules make it clear again that there's no skill involved. It's just showing you a result. And also, can you see here that my maximum pay now has increased on a 20p spin? My maximum pay has increased to £36, and that's because the bars are worth 12 quid. But that means, oh, why did I only do 10 spins there? Sorry, that's my fault. There we are. Now, this one is spicier, and the reason for that is that your minimum win here is 20x. So on the other one, the X's were 10 times stake. Now they're 20 times stake. And as you can see there, the bars are now 60x. What that means is you have to be prepared for more dead spins on this. If you think about the rows on the spreadsheet, remember that spreadsheet that I showed you? I only put 1,000 rows on my spreadsheet and it added up in real time. And what has to happen is for a 96% RTP, for those 1,000 rows on the spreadsheet to add up to 96%. So 1,000 rows at £1 a row, the total value at the bottom for a 96% RTP has to be 960. So if you think about it, there has to be a lot of zeros in there for that to work. Now, the unusual thing about these is that first of all, your minimum win on the pay table here is 20x. And of course, lots of those are more than that because it can hold once or twice. Now, that is highly unusual. I don't think you will find any other online games where your absolute base win is 20x. If you think about it, it's one of the things that a lot of people find most annoying about online slots is that if you're playing on like £1 a spin, there will be wins of like you can get 10p or 14p or some shit like that. You know, literally like 10% of your stake can be presented to you as a win. And that became more the case once we went into the world of 243-way slots and then particularly mega-way slots where, you know, on £1 a spin, a 3 of a kind on 9s is worth, I don't know, fucking 4p or something. But what that means is that generally speaking, on an online slot, a random online slot, you're not going to get... Very often, you're not going to go more than 10, 15 spins without getting a little bit of something, even if it's only getting back an amount of your stake. You know, technically you've still lost on that spin, but it will be putting something back into your balance. That is not the case with these, because on this one, and there's a spicier one than this, which I will show you in a moment, on this, for our 96% RTP to work, for that to have a minimum pay of 20x, there have to be, in simple terms, oh, is there a fucking bar up there? Go on. No, there isn't. Hold after nudges. Any chances? Yes, there we are. So that's 12. Oh no, you know what? I've forgotten. It does say in the rules. Sorry, I got overexcited. This thing can fuck you like the real thing does. Oh, there we are. It has held. I thought it was a jackpot. I'm being stupid. Yeah, it does say in the rules that if you get hold after nudges, the next spin will be a win, but not necessarily the symbol that you got it on. So that only I got super excited there and thought that was a hold after the nudges for the jackpot. So what you have to get your head around here is that think about the rows on the spreadsheet. There are going to be a lot of 0 rows. Oh, now again, I don't think, is there a bar up there? I don't think there is. Oh, there is! There we are. Right, so there's a jackpot. That's 12 quid, and this can hold twice. But remember here, this is already predetermined. It's picked the row on the spreadsheet. It's pulled the ball out of the bag. This is all a pre-scripted sequence now, but I don't know what this pre-scripted sequence is. So to me, it kind of makes no difference. This can hold once or twice. If it starts adding to the bank, it hasn't held. It hasn't held. There we are, and it's added in. So that was actually reasonably lucky. Oh, that's the autoplay stop trigger. So do you get what I'm saying there? Is that for me as a player there, that for me is identical to playing a compensated version of this that A, will be on a far lower RTP and might have been fucked with in the way that certainly a bullion bars can be fucked with. If you want to go over to Desert Island Fruits and have a look at that thread where it's run on, there's a really in-depth discussion by a few of the members there talking about some of the ways that they heard about and found over the years to manipulate all of these different pots, not just on bullion bars, but on other low techs as well. And one of the guys, I'm not having a pop at the guy himself, but but he said that back in the seaside, back in the day, what you would do is you'd get your timing right. And, you wanted that the regular punters, the seaside punters, to come up. Their job was to just fill them up. He was saying that he had eyes in with some of the staff there. He was on friendly terms with the staff. If he bumped into them in the pub, he'd get them a drink or whatever. And the friendly staff would just give him a nod. Like that one's had a lot of play or whatever. And he would go and do his thing because he knew how to manipulate all those pots. And my position in that scenario, I'm not having a go at him. I did exactly the same for the machines that I had a clue on. But my job there would just be to fill the machine up because I wouldn't have the first idea of what I was doing. So for me, I get to play what looks very much like a UK fruit machine, but I don't have to worry about any of that shit. And I get a 96% RTP. I mean, even your most generous of arcades, you might get them to set their low techs at perhaps 90%, which is still a 10% house edge, remember. Oh, is there a bar up there? Is there a bar up there? No, there isn't. Can we get a hold after nudges? I'm going to get... Oh, we didn't, and I got a... Oh! So 90% would be generous, very generous for an arcade. And of course, they could set them down anywhere into the 80s or, theoretically as low as 74, 76, 78%. You are not going to get machines paying out at 96% in the arcade. So we've seen that one. I'm still a tenner down, but we've done okay. You get the idea. What I want to just show you is moving up through the volatility scales. So let's move on to the next one. Right, and next, these are all by the same company. These are all by Realistic, and they've got Light and Wonder here as the provider. There we are, Realistic. And this is Magic 7 with a 97% RTP. There is your pay scale, 1530 and 75x. And if we have a look at it does say there 96% and it's random. Same game rules apply, but can you see here a sequence of 3 or 10 wins, hold on a win, and hold pair, and look at the pay table. Can you see the difference now? The maximum payout in any one game is 150 quid. Or if you want that in nice, simple monetary terms, if you were playing this on £1 a go, the top prize would be £750. That's 750x. So you can get a sequence of 10 wins on the 75x jackpot. Now, you're going to say, of course, well, that sounds great. I can win more on this. And yes, that is true. But that also speaks to you of higher volatility on this one. The bigger those potential prizes get, the higher the volatility gets. Because if you think about it now, the balls in the bag or the rows on the spreadsheet now, think about how many more zeros there has to be in there to accommodate the fact that this has got, for starters, the jackpot is the biggest that we've seen so far because the jackpot is 75x. And also on top of that, it can now give you 10 of those on the bounce for a win of 750x. So that is a substantially bigger prize than you can get out of the bar X style machines, but that's got to be accounted for in the RTP. The RTP is the same on this, it's 96%. So over a large enough spin sample, it's going to work out the same. If you put 1 billion spins through this and 1 billion spins through bar X, at the end of that, you're going to have lost 4% of your total stakes. That will be the same. The difference here is the ride along the way. This one is more volatile, so it is going to deliver more peaks and troughs. This one, by the way, will do 100 dead spins. I know that because I've had it, and then it'll go most of the way through another 100 spin block along the way too. From memory on this one, I'm pretty sure I'm right on this, is that you won't see nudges as often because when it gives you nudges, there is always a win. This one doesn't have the hold after nudges style. So that's kind of good, is because when you see the nudges and you hear the nudge sound, you know you've got a win. But it also means that you're going to hear it a lot less often because there's no concept of you've got nudges but you haven't won. Because when you get nudges, you have won. Now, we may have to camp out a fair number of dead spins on this one. This one is pretty harsh. This one's quite a volatile game, so even though our base win there at 15x is a little bit lower, you've got to bear in mind that this is now able to hold on any of those 10 times. It's not just the 7s that it can hold up to 10 times on. It can do it on the bars and the X's as well. What that means is that there are far, far more 0 results on this game. There are far more game rounds when we're going to get nothing. One interesting thing, by the way, on all of these games is if you look, you might have seen it already, if you look up at the top right hand corner, can you see that each one of these, every time it spins, that number at the top changes? That is the game round. That is, if you want to, in simple terms there, that number at the top, that is the row on the spreadsheet. You can literally imagine a spreadsheet behind this game, and every time you press the start button or the autoplay does it for me here, it's saying, give me the row off the spreadsheet that corresponds to that number and show the player what he's got. But, with enough results in the bag, whatever it may be, 500,000, 1 million, 2 million, 10 million, you could make it a pretty big number. It would be easy enough because you could get a computer to generate the game rounds for you. So you could kind of put as many balls in the bag as you want to. You can say to, a coder could do that. You say, right, I'm making a 96% game. Here are the parameters. Here are the wins. Here are the reels, blah, blah, blah. Go off and generate me 10 million results and compile those into the game code. That could absolutely be a thing. And that's fine. You can, and I want to make this clear because it does. There is honestly a misconception out there about some of the stuff that you can do with random games. And I think some people would perhaps look at this and say you can't make a game like that and have it be random and fair. And the truth is that you absolutely can. And this really blew up years ago over on Casino Meister with the Jamming Jars Ferrari. And that was when we bottomed it all out. I'm slightly running out of waffle here, which is, I'm going to have a swig of coffee as well. This is par for the course for this. This can do so many dead spins. And this speaks to the increased volatility on this one. Even though the RTP is the same at 96%, we've got to now, to account for those bigger wins on the pay table, we've got to now account for all of those zero pay rows on the spreadsheet to fill out the other values and still have the sort of summary of the total of all the rows is 96% of the stake. That's actually going to do 100 dead spins there, isn't it? Oh, well, that hurt, didn't it? That was right. And do you know what? There is worse. In fact, okay, I'm not going to lump because I've got a couple more games I want to get through. I don't want to go skint on this one. I'll move on to the next one. Here we go. And this is Magic 7's big brother, which is called Magic 10. Again, RTP 96%. They are putting that front and centre there because they know the number is good. When the number's shit, they tend not to put it front and centre like this. Can you see the difference straight away on that pay table? The pays have all bumped up again. So if we have a look on the pay table here, even though the max pay is the same at 750x, RTP is the same, the rules are all the same, our pay table has now become even spicier because our minimum pay now is 30x. So we'll give it 100 spins. So our jackpot is the same and the rules at the top are the same. You can get up to 10 free spins when it does like the streak thing. But our minimum pay is even larger now at 30x. And that, once again, that increases the number of zeros, the number of zero paying rows on our spreadsheet. That number now increases again. So that makes... Oh, so there we are. We've definitely got 45x there. And let's see if we can get the holds. The difference here is that when this one goes, and Magic 7 is the same, when this one goes, it can really start to go a bit. So first of all, we get our win, and then we're going to see if it wants to do the holds or not. Come on, we haven't done very well with holds. No! No, it didn't hold. It didn't hold. There we are. So at least we got a win out of it. I'll give this one 100 spins, and then I will move on to the next one, because there are a few of these, and there's also a real fruit machine style one as well, which is actually quite good fun. So I've heard a slurp there. I've got a massive cup of coffee on the go here. So I like these. Now, you might be looking at this and thinking, I do not get the fucking point of this Degsy. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. And that's fine. But and I made this point over at Desert Island Fruits as well, because the last video that I made, the Destroyed in the Pub, where I had the footage from Who's the Bride, and when I won over £1,000 on Who's the Bride on 18p spins, there were a couple of comments over at Desert Island Fruits, which were along the lines of, come on, Degs, really, you're kind of promoting online gambling a bit there. And I said, look, I didn't think I was. I thought I made it very, very clear in the video already, but let me be super clear about this. If you don't gamble, don't start gambling. If you've quit gambling, stay quit. If you do gamble and you're not happy with it and you're thinking about quitting, absolutely go ahead and quit. If you're someone like me, who, after that kicking I got in the pub, has now said, I am done with pub machines. I have quit pub machines. I'm not playing them again. I'm not taking a twatting like that again. So wherever you are on the scale, for the love of God, don't... It's sort of, if you're not a gambler, don't become a gambler. And particularly, even if you like the look of this, I wouldn't recommend that you play it, because there's no getting away from the fact that it's a random game with a house edge. There's nothing to learn on this. You know, you could argue, well, if I really get my head around bullion bars and how to get all those pots out, I can win on it. There's no concept of that on this, because long term, of course, you are going to lose. The aim of this video is, and this is a result of me really having to dig around at video slots to find some games that I could play. I wanted to find something with a high RTP. I was really looking for something like that. And I do like these simpler style games, but didn't have insane volatility, because this has only got a 750x top prize. That's not that big. And something that I could find entertaining. And when I found these, which were like essentially had a literal UK fruit machine aesthetic, they ticked all the boxes for me. So if you're already someone who likes to use some of your discretionary entertainment spend to have a little bit of a gamble, I guess this video is saying, well, you know what, just be aware that these things exist and you don't have to plug away at low RTP machines in the arcade or machines that may have been well and truly done by people who know how to fuck around with these compensated games. That is my point here with this. It absolutely is not in any way, shape or form a suggestion to anyone, hey, look, why don't you have a go on these? They're great. I think they're all right, but that's within the framework of someone who does from time to time like to make a deposit online and have a little bit of a gamble. At the end of the day, this is a legal, regulated activity that as adults, you know, we're allowed to take part in if we choose. And that's where I am with it. And particularly, that's your 30x, that's £6. But just to say here, but on a 20p spin for an online random game, let's see for the holds. You bastard! For an online random game to have a 30x minimum win is crackers. I actually can't think of any other online slots that work like this, where your minimum prize is 30x. I don't want to say they don't exist, but I have certainly never encountered them. And the reason for that would be is that they are capable of generating a huge number of dead spins, because this is a super, super weird pay table for an online slot to begin at 30x. You know, let's take the one that everyone knows and has played if you play online, Bonanza. That's like Bonanza starting with a £6 win. The smallest win that Bonanza does is £6. Like, it's just not a thing at all. I'll play out these 100 spins and then I will move on to the next one. And the next one, I think, by the way, is kind of the daddy of all of these. Out of the 4 that you've seen so far, Magic 10 is the chunkiest one. This is the one that will kick you around the most. There, we've done our 100 spins. There we are. Let's move on to the next one. Here we are. This is the one. This one's fucking mental. Watch yourself with this one. Even on 20p spins, this one will do you a bit of damage. Here we are, bar X7, 96%. And what I'll do is I'll just put it on a pound ago, so that makes it super easy to see. So for starters, can you see the current bet value, the maximum payout in any one game is £1,000. So what this can do, you do get your 96% and it is random, but what this one can do is 100x and then hold it 10 times. And if we have a look at our pay table, can you see let's just kick it off. Now this one is the big boy. When it comes to doing 100 dead spins and then some, this is absolutely the daddy of the lot. Look at that pay table. It's got more bonkers again. Our minimum win is now 40x. So on a 20p spin, of course, that's £8. If you were playing this on a pound ago, that would be 40, 60 and £100 on this pay table here. So we've got nice big numbers. But if you think about to the bar X one, that was 10 and 50x, wasn't it? And it could only do 2 holds. Now we've got 40, 60 and 100x, and it can do 10 of these on the bounce. So your 7s there can do 10 consecutive wins, all as part of a single credit, but that will pay you 1,000 times your stake. Now that's going to be very nice if you can get it, but once again, think about, and we've got the numbers in the top right hand corner there again. Think once again about how many zeros there are going to be on that spreadsheet to accommodate this now. Think about how many rows we're going to have to zero out to still have the number at the bottom represent 96% of the total stake. similar to, as I said with the last machine, I almost want to say I don't think any other online games exist with this pay model. Certainly not what you would consider your higher tech online slots. Maybe there's another provider out there who's doing low tech style games like this, but I simply cannot think of another online game, a random online game that I have ever seen which has as its minimum win 40x and then goes up from there. My expectation here, honestly, is that this will do 100 dead spins, because this one is pretty mental. Ooh, there we are. Okay, I talked that one in, didn't I? So there we go. Let's have a look what it wants to do. The main thing of what we want now is these holds, because any of these wins can hold. So our starter for 10, of course, on this, that's going to be 12 quid. Let's see if we get the holds or the free spins. No! We're not doing well on the holds and the free spins here. You do want to be slightly careful with these. Match your stake to your bankroll. I mean, if you want a death or glory punt, then by all means, deposit £100 and put it on a pound to go. Maybe you'll get lucky and hit the £1,000 jackpot, but because that's effectively what this is here, of course. It's 1,000 times stakes. On a pound to go, you've got £1,000 jackpot. Yes, you could stick a ton in and chance your arm at that, but I want to be absolutely clear here that you could lose your £100 and not win a penny. Also, of course, understand that if that happened to you, the machine is no closer to paying out. If you lost £100 on £1 spins, at the end of that, the spreadsheet looks exactly the same. The spreadsheet hasn't changed. The pool of results hasn't changed. So after you lose your £100 on £1 spins, all you're doing, if you deposit again, all you're doing on the 101st spin is just picking another random row off that spreadsheet. Now that, of course, is the fundamental difference between compensated and random games. A compensated game, even one that's been heartily fucked with, will eventually get to the point where it has to pay something back to you because of the way that compensation works. Something in the machine, one of the many different pots that these things can have, eventually one of them is going to tip over and give you some of your money back. A random game does not do that. Yes, of course, you're going to get a win eventually. And if you think back to that previous video where I just used the simple coin flip, you are eventually going to flip a head or a tail, but your chance on every single flip of that coin is always 50-50. And remember how I scaled it out through the roulette table and scratch cards and all the rest of it. So there will be a limit to how many dead spins you can get on this. There is going to be a point at which probability says that you will be almost 100% certain to have achieved a win of some description, because that's how probability works. But you can have a lot of dead spins along the way with this one. I'm actually quite happy I got anything off this. This is another one, by the way, and I think I'm right on this, is whenever you... that felt like a slow spin then, didn't it? It's that whenever you get nudges, you know that you've got a win. It doesn't give you nudges without there being a win available. Shall we just give it... I do like getting the jackpot on this one. Shall we? Oh, go on. I'll give it another. I don't want to go skint because we've got to move on and do the fruit machine one. But we'll give it another 100 spins. Oh, but coffee's going cold now. Come on, you bastard. Just do us a... I'll leave it going in real time. Just excuse me. I want to finish this coffee before it goes. It's getting a bit on the tepid side, to say the least. Just about drinkable. Right. I'll go on, you bastard. I think that I've had this one, I think it was about 150, 160 spins before it dropped in anything. I have had some reasonable wins on them as well. I mean, what I can, if none of these play ball for this video, I have got some Bandicam footage that I took a few nights ago of these. So what I might just do is tack those onto the end of the video. But this is, now that means, I'm pretty sure that means that's going to come in now. Yes, yeah, if it gives you a hold, that then becomes part of the sequence. So there we are. Now, I wouldn't say no here to some holds or a free spin, like the free spin streak thing. So it's going to be 12 quid. Come on, come on, come on. Free spin or... Yes, we've got a hold. We've got a hold. Good. I think this one, from memory, I think this is limited on the holds to 2 or 3. It's the free spin streak thing that can do like the 10. But we can certainly get another hold. I wouldn't say no to another holder. That'd be really nice. Come on, come on. Hold again, hold again, hold again. No! And that counts as an over jackpot win. Because if you remember, my auto player was a jackpot, which is 100x. Quite a spicy one, that. I've kind of got away with me pants intact there. Let's move on to the next one. Again, same company, Light and Wonder / Realistic. It's under the Realistic Provider category at Video Slots. Can you see here? It's a fruit machine-y one with features. Now, your jackpot on this, by the way, let's just, fucking hell, £10 spin. Yeah, okay. Jackpot on this one is 1,000, so it's 1,000x. If you have a look at your info, your RTP is a little bit lower, 95.4%, but still solid. Again, good luck finding games at 95.4% in the arcade. And very simple rule set, but there is a feature. There's a bonus round. If you get 3 bonus symbols, it's 5 win lines, by the way, you get a little feature. So let's kick it off. I like this one. It's a cheerful little... Fucking hell, I pressed the wrong fucking... Make sure we're on 20p a spin. There you go. And it's like an actual... No, you can zoom in here like that. So what we're after here is we've got 5 win lines. So you want those bonus fellas there on any of... So it's top, middle and bottom, and then the 2 diagonals. You see it does actually show quite clearly there, jackpot 1000x. So your base game here is... Yeah, I mean, it's okay. You can see there that the real gambler... symbols are 2... Oh, there we are. See, it's got music going on and all that. It's obviously, this is running on the same principle. It's a row on a spreadsheet. All of this that I'm watching now is a predetermined sequence, but it's really got that fruit machine aesthetic to it. Fucking spin a win. And now, if you're minded to, you can have a gamble. Where's me collect? Take. Now, if you want to have a little bit of a... why did I press that? The gamble on this is one of those 100% ones. So it scales. Obviously, you can see there, you've got a 1.5x, 2x on red and black. Then you've got 3, 6 and 12x on the cards up the top. So if you want to go down that route and have a little gamble up to the maximum of the 1000x jackpot, then you are free to do that. I no more want to partake. I mean, I get on a 20p spin, but I could. But I'm just not a big fan of gambling me wins. It's not something that I like to do. The other thing about this, of course, is that you can kind of chill out here. Or for me, I can chill out here because I'm quite happy playing this on a 20p spin. I was never comfortable playing in the pub on those £2 spins. You do feel that you're coerced into it. By the time you get to £1 to go, you're doing yourself out of RTP and features. And then even more, so if you go further down the stakes from there, you end up at 86 and 84% and nonsense like that. Ooh, £12, there you go. Just dropped in. And I don't want to. Now, so if you want to, you can set the gamble on those, but not for me. It looks to me like it can pay a jackpot on the reels, because if you have a look, can you see those real gambler symbols do appear to be stacked on all three reels? So I'm guessing that that's where you can get a jackpot from, just landing on the reel. So you get your stacks of real gambler on all three reels. That's obviously 200x a line, 5 lines. There's your 1000x jackpot. I have had, I'll just try and get you a couple of the other features on the actual feature itself. I have had win series. Win series is quite hard to get. It paid okay. It wasn't amazing. I think it paid about 120x or something. It wasn't fantastic. The other thing, of course, is that you can, again, do this with randomness. So what you will have is, if you want it to pay the shit ones like spinner win and stopper fruit, if you want it to pay those more often, what you would do, of course, is you would assign that to more rows on the spreadsheet. So spinner win will turn up. There are far more rows on the spreadsheet that have got spinner win than have got win series. The other ones might be somewhere in the middle. So again, you can control is the wrong word, but you can define all this as part of a random pay table. The other thing with this as well is that it doesn't do as many dead spins, because if you think about the other ones, particularly the last one that we played, where the minimum win was 40x, can you see here that your minimum here, put my teeth in, minimum win here is your cherries. One line of cherries is 2x, and going up from there with oranges and the grapes, you've got 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, and then 200. We've got another bonus! Right. Something other than spin a win, please. Ooh, full house. I can't remember what this one is. Oh, it's 5. That's right. It's 5 lines. I remember. Oh, shall we have it? Shall we go on? Shall we have a gamble on red? Go on then. Just go on. I'll have a gamble on red. That is why. Right, not doing that again. See, so I don't see. That was just a 5 gone, just like that. I've just spunked a 5. That I'm not doing any more gambles. If you like to gamble, if you like to fucking set your wins on fire, then fine. The gamble is here for you. Knock yourself out, but not for me. I'm going to have an annoyed drink of cold coffee now. It's pretty much cold now. You'll have to. So that was an annoying waste of a 5, wasn't it? Right, okay then. So that not successful there on the gamble. Let's just get one more feature. You get the idea. I'll just see if we can get a different feature. It will, in my experience, because the features can pay pretty shit, you will usually get a feature every 100 spins. So in terms of sort of dead spins, this one is nowhere near as bad as the others. So we'll just see it out to one more. Yeah, 60p. And obviously the wins there. That's the trade-off. You can have more frequent, smaller wins, which is what this one does, or you can have less frequent, bigger wins, which is what the other ones do. And that's the only way that you can balance it out on a random game. When you're basically, I mean, this one's slightly lower at 95.4, but you only have so much RTP to go around. If you have got 96% RTP to allocate to your pay table, to your rows on the spreadsheet, it's how you distribute it. And what we have here is a lower volatility game, but you still have the 1000x jackpot, which is quite nice. And that means here that on my 20p spin, I am playing here for a £200 jackpot. We'll get one more feature out of it. And there we go. Like I say, you'd normally get one every 100 spins. There's a stack of real gambler on the middle reels. There's a quid. I'm still ever so slightly annoyed about gambling that Favour and losing. This is why I just don't like the gambles. I mean, I guess, I mean, you can see Hyper. When Hyper gets a good run on the gambles on his channel, yeah, I get it. But the downswing on it is, and it is 100% RTP eventually on these gambles, but the swings in volatility that they can cause are just a bit too much for me. And it crosses over into not being fun. I'm happier to see. And by the way, I mean, and I've not had a particularly good run here, by the way, from my £100 starting point, I've still got £68.40 left, and we've done quite a bit of play. This is a million miles away from that £300 fucking mugging that I took in the pub the other week in, what was it, about 24 minutes of gameplay. These higher RTP games online, random games, high RTP, and when you're playing on low stakes like 20p, that just isn't a thing. Like, you literally just cannot lose your money that fast on these things. It's not something that exists within the mathematics of them. Like, in my experience, generally speaking, if you deposit 100 quid, you seek out sensible games, decent RTP, sensible volatility, a £100 deposit, even on a bad run, will generally get you an entire evening of play. Even a sort of bad losing session will last you for an evening, and more likely is you'll have something left at the end of the evening. You might have won at the end of the evening, whatever it may be. A couple of weeks ago, I had a £100 deposit at video slots that I got essentially a weekend's play out of, on and off, hours and hours and hours of play. And at the end of it all, I had a withdrawable balance of 250 quid, which I withdrew. I mean, admittedly, that was one of the better sessions, but it does speak to the difference in results that you can get when you combine those three things, which is high RTP, relatively low volatility, and small stakes. And if you think about it, a £100 deposit, there we are, there's a feature when you're paying on 20p a spin, is 500x. Your bankroll is 500x, and that's usually enough to see out the peaks and the troughs. Can we get something different? Ooh, stopper fruit, that's exactly what it sounds like. Well, that's not going to be very good, is it? Bro, I missed the start. Oh, God. Is that it? It's still going to annoy me too much. I should have collected that there. Just give it one more block of 100. That was a bit of a bad one, wasn't it? Let's just see if we can get one of the higher up features. And then we'll take it from there. What I'll do now is, short of... There's not a huge amount that can land in the base game here. There are stacks of symbols, but really it's going to be those actual real gambler symbols. The real gambler symbols even, that are going to be the big ones. So what I will do is I'll bring you back when I get a feature. Oh, we're back in. That didn't take too long. So can we get one of the ones up at the top? Would be nice. Go on, go on, go on. Oh, fucking stopper fruit again. Grapes, how many is that? Just going to be one win line of grapes? No, two win lines. There we are. I'm going to collect it because the gamble annoys me. There we are, and let's kick off again. Right, it's actually being a bit of an arsehole now, and we need better than that. Can you see? Look at that, just about nosing down to the 40 quid mark, so I could really do with something landing here, or a bonus. Right, we have got a bonus. Could do with a bit of a pay on this one. We've got... Oh, it's that full house thing again. I guess that could do a full house of the best symbol. Is it going to? No. 4 quid. I'm going to take it. I don't care. I'm not doing gambles. They're just a one-way ticket to annoyance. Okay, feature again. Let's see what we get. It is... Oh, it's that fucking full house again. Right, okay then. So it's going to be a full screen, but it's whatever symbol we get is the problem. What's that, tenner? Okay, well... No, I'm not doing it. There we are. So that's a tenner. That's not terrible. Back up to £43.80. Right, it is dropping in a little bit more regularly now. Oh, stop it. I just want to get one of those ones at the top. Go on, hit the bar. Oh, it's just like the real thing, isn't it? Well, it's a... So stopper fruit can actually give a full house like that. Still waiting for a decent feature here, though. Okay, dropped in a quick again. But, oh, God. Just hitting these wanky ones down the bottom, aren't I? I mean, what's that? £3? Okay, come on, let's build it back up a bit. And in again, can we have one of the ones at the top? No, we can't. Just stuck down there. That's going to be... Oh, okay, I thought that was going to be... I thought it was going to fuck me with it. Oh, there we are, full house. Well, it's I'm not gambling me £5. Because I'll just lose it and then I'll be annoyed. Okay, we're nearly at £50 again. Well, again, that took a little bit to come in. Look at that, I'm down to £28.80. Oh, black to black. Now, I think this is you've got to keep throwing black cards, yeah. See, he's got nice little sort of fruit machine style ditties there. I could do with a decent win here, come on. So as you can see, it puts you up the win plan. Come on, we could do with getting up a bit here. Come on. There we go. Need better than that. I mean, there's more than one win line, but even so. Go on. More. So we've got 3 win lines there. And again. So what's that going to put me? Oh, a full... Oh, is it? How much was that? Just £2 off all of Jesus. That's just not very... We're gonna need better than this. I might have to go, you know, for a... we'll see how it goes. Maybe a final death or glory on Magic 10s. I don't mind. I'm actually recording this on Sunday morning. This is a £100 deposit that I made on Friday evening. I've had play with this on Friday and Saturday. We're now into Sunday. I've had hours and hours of play off a single deposit. So if it goes at this point, it goes. At one point, I could have made a withdrawal of a reasonable profit of about £30, but I carried on the show. Oh, there's a stack of them real gamblers. So if it goes at this point, that's fine. I've not had bad value for money off this. That's the thing with these. On these small stakes and higher RTPs, even on a losing session, you can get a bit of a run for your money. And that's really what I'm after more than anything after that appalling result in the pub a few weeks ago. Right, you know what? Let's go balls to the wall. I've got £30 left. This, I'm pretty sure that this is the highest volatility one even out of all of them. So there we go. Yeah, £200 jackpot. We'll give £30 to this. You know, I mean, obviously at this point, I need the 7s to hold a few times, or I mean, if we could get the bars and they did the 10 holds, that would be okay as well. But I'm in a little bit of a hole here. So let's try this. This is the daddy, I think, volatility-wise. There are more of these on there. I haven't really got time to do any more at this point. Anyway, I need to be out of here by 12 and we're at 11:15 now. So what I'll do is on the end of this video, I will put some of my Bandicam footage of one of these buggers actually paying out a bit of something and just show up on the screen some of the other ones that there are as well. There's a couple more which have like got a fruit machiney aesthetic thing, and there's these really weird like pull tab style games which I thought I'll load them in and have a look at them and was very unsure about them, but they're actually okay. And one of them has got a really big top prize. One of them has got a prize of 4,000x, which is, I mean, great if you can get it, but obviously, as ever, that has to be paid for out of the pay table. On a 20p spin, that puts you on an £800 jackpot, which would be very, very beefy, but that 4,000x win has to be accounted for in the pay table. So do be aware of that. It's not been, they haven't been kind to me this morning. This is the worst session that I've had on these. I've played these a few times now, and eventually they've always kicked back a little bit. So honestly, I was probably sort of inviting one of these. So I'm not going to cry foul. And like I say, this is my third day of having spins on an original £100 deposit. So not too bad. This one is now a bit of a final throw of the dice. If we can get, that would be lovely if we can get that sevens win to come in. Remember on these, if you hear the nudges, you know that you've got a win, but this could do 30 quid without knocking a penny back. I am very, very well aware that that is the risk that I am taking here. But if we can get the sevens and they can hold a few times, that'd get me 100 quid back, wouldn't it? But I don't mind losing that. What just pissed me off and left me feeling really shit was losing 300 quid in the pub in 24 minutes. That was just nonsense. Oh, you can see there, that's X's. That's X's. But remember, because it's 40x, your starter win, like your junior win, is 8 quid. So it's actually not a terrible win for a 20p spin. And of course it can hold. Come on, babe. I mean, I wouldn't say no to the free spins or the holds on this. It's still £8 a pop, isn't it? No, it's just the basic. So I don't mind. I mean, for God's sake, don't play random games with a house edge if you're not okay with losing. Because I absolutely promise you, you're going to lose. But it's how that happens. Like I was saying, that loss in the pub, 300 quid in 24 minutes, that can just do one. I swear to God, that has put me off those pub games forever now. That's the point at which I just walk away and say never again. It's not a problem for me to do that. That's just into the realms of the absurd. This for me is fine. 100 quid and getting hours of gameplay, I'm okay with that. That's all right. As a means of, dispensing with some of my discretionary spend, I'm fine with that. 3 nudges would have been nice on that last one, wouldn't it? Because there was a 7 just on. Oh, come on. Remember, if you see those 7s, even on this little piddly 20p spin, that's 20 quid. 8 quid and 12 quid for our other wins. So, and it scales up from there. You can play this. I think there was a 10p spin down at the bottom, wasn't there? Let's have a look. Let me just... Oh no, 5p. Look, you can even play this on 5p a go. And your jackpot on, see, even on 5p, you've got essentially a £50 jackpot. And the thing to remember, of course, is that RTP is fixed. Your RTP never changes. Your RTP is always 96%. So there's none of this trying to push you into playing those bigger stakes. I don't think that should be allowed on those bloody games in the pub, on the cabs in the pub. I don't think there should be a clear inducement, and not even just, you could argue about the higher. I mean, even that is bad enough. Like, your higher chance to get a feature, bonus respins, all the rest of it. Making a player the fact that they're taking stuff off you if you don't do £2 a spin. But actually reducing the payout of the game as well. That they are two very, very obvious inducements to the player to say, look, you really want to be going in on £2 a spin here, mate, don't you? It's never sat well with me, that. £2. This is my comfort zone, is playing little 20p spins. More for a bit of fun than anything else. And £2 spins in the pub were not that. On some level, I'm wish I hadn't have persevered with the bloody things for as long as I did. But I had a very, very good run in 2024. One of the guys over at Casino Mice was like, your run of spawn on these things has been absolutely otherworldly. And I think that was true. I did kind of I played with fire for a long time with those pub machines. Considering the awful percentages and the high stakes relative to my bankroll that I was playing, I did get away with murder for a bit. So chickens were going to come home to roost eventually. Right, so there we are. Let's have, I mean, that's not bad. I mean, the 60x is like a jackpot on the other ones, isn't it? or more than a jackpot on the basic bar X. It's free spins or hold that you're looking for. Oh, free spin 1, there we are. Now this is the one that can go nuts. It's the free spin one that can just keep going and going and going up to the maximum of 10. So let's have a, come on. I would not say no to more of these. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, more free spins, more free spins. Yes, there we are. Now it's going to do it again. There we go. So there we are. We're up to a £36 win now off a 20p spin. I don't think that's too bad. So let's, come on, keep going. We just want to see that free spin text down at the bottom. Come on, baby. More. No! Oh, it didn't. Oh, there we go. We're back up. Not bad. Now, the thing to remember now is that even though that's just paid that win there, the game does not change. Now, I know some people don't think so. There are many people out there. This conversation comes up at Casino Meister. They're compensated, really. They pretend they're random, but they're okay, fine. If you want to think that, then think that. That is literally not what they're allowed to do. And I think, you know, the world of regulation and such now is more rigorous than it used to be in the days of compensated fruit machines. These games do have to be tested and certified. They do have to abide by the prevailing regulation. And when you've got a house edge in your favour of 4%, all you need to do is build your spreadsheet correctly and maths will do the rest as a guaranteed mathematical certainty. The other thing that I've got going on with these, personally, is that I've been playing these things for long enough and I am a stats nerd. I track my stats and I know for a fact, because I have the stats to back it up, that over time these games return what they say they do. And on average, as your spin sample gets bigger, you're gonna those peaks and troughs are gonna level out, and you're gonna find yourself at RTP. Now, if you genuinely think these things are diddling you, or they're compensated, or there's something underhand going on, my advice to you is just don't play them, because it makes no sense to play a game that you think is cheating you. I personally am content that these things do run randomly and do play fairly. My real beef, as I said at the start of this video, is with compensated games. I do not trust compensated games at all. I think either mistakes will be made, there'll be some fuckery going on, like bent fuckery, like Union Jackpot and the Tell, or there'll be stuff that's inverted commas, legit and is supposed to be in there, but the end result is the same. If you don't know what that is, you're still going to get screwed. Random games I am happy with. So if you're prepared to accept, as I do, that this is a fair and random game, and it's going to be X's. Is there a 7 up there? I don't think there is. Is there a 7? No, there isn't. It's going to be X's. As soon as you hear the nudges, on these ones, not on the bar X ones, but on these ones and the magic ones, as soon as you hear the nudge sound, you know you've got a win, because it won't give you the nudges unless there's a win. It can still do the free spins and the holds, though. Oh, it's done a hold. I think this one is limited to 2 holds. I think it can only do it off the free spins. A little bit of a revival here, maybe. Would be nice. Come on. That's going to be 16 quid. Another hold. Couple of holds would be nice. No, it's over. So we're back up to 60 quid. That's all right. And then we'll just kick that. I've just set the autoplay there to stop on wins of more than a tenner. So, just to rewind a bit. If you're playing these on the basis that they are fair and random, and that game round up there, which is kind of like a literal representation of what I'm talking about, but what that is doing up there is picking a row off the spreadsheet. This game does not change, because it's just giving me the bars and a few holds and X's and a hold or whatever. This is exactly the same game that it was a minute ago or 5 minutes ago or last month or when it was released. It's just pulling rows off the spreadsheet. So there isn't any concept with a random game of getting off it because it's paid out. And the flip side of that is it doesn't owe you anything the longer that you stay on it. So it doesn't bother me now. Oh, well, you've just won 40 quid or whatever it was on 20p a go. That doesn't bother me because I am content in myself that this game hasn't changed. Random games will do this. Random numbers do weird things sometimes. Random games will sometimes give you the impression that they're running hot or they're in a bad mood or whatever it may be. And that will happen as part of randomness. It doesn't mean that there's any kind of adjustment or correction. Oh, what? Oh, it's going to be X's, is it? See which one it nudges first. No, it's X's. I was slightly hoping that there was going to be a 7 just out of sight there. This one, we're probably doing... Well, we are obviously ahead of the curve here because we're winning on it, but getting this frequency of wins is not bad. What are we going to get here? No, you can tell straight away. If it's going to go on, it will either say free spin, like immediately, or you'll see the whole buttons flash. So as soon as you get that pause, you know that it's just going to add it to the bank. But I have had a little bit of a recovery here, haven't I? Shall we just see if we can just push it for one more win? And what I'll do is, I'm kind of out of time for doing this recording. So what I'll do is I'll bail at 50 quid. We'll see it out to another win if I can get that, but I'm going to stop at 50 quid. And then when I do the edit on this, I will just put a little bit of extra stuff on the end. But remember, the point here is not like these are great, go and gamble. It's more like I was doing at the back end of the Destroyed in the Pub video, is that for me, as somebody who does enjoy the occasional gamble with modest amounts of money, this is where I've landed now, is finding not just these games. I'm basically in the online space. I'm looking for games that have got a high RTP with sensible volatility, and I like these simpler games. And I love these because they also combine that with a UK pub machine aesthetic. Compensated games aren't a thing online, so you don't have to worry about that side of thing. They have to be random. You can't do a compensated game in the online space. So that isn't a factor. So it's the other things that I'm looking for, is that RTP, volatility, and games that I like and games that I enjoy the aesthetic of. Like, I know some people love Mega. I'm fucking fed up with Megaways. I think I was never a massive fan of it anyway, and the proliferation, I mean, it is dying off a little bit now, I think. And now we're all into these what's those going to be X's? It's got to be X's, hasn't it? We're into all these bloody cluster style games now and all that kind of shit, so I don't like those either. Even though conceptually a cluster style game is another scratch card game, I prefer this representation of a game because it's familiar to me. It reminds me of those arcade machines. What we're going to get here? No, it's just adding it. It's just adding it. Okay, new drop-off point. We'll say 60 quid is the new drop-off point. And like I say, bear in mind that this was a £100 deposit 2 days ago. And I'm still rocking with the right side of £60 here. So it's not done bad. What I'll probably do is carry on with this deposit later on. If I can get it back up to 100 quid, I might just withdraw it back out. And then I've had a free session for like 3 days, haven't I? Go on. Any more for any more just before we bail here? I will bail at 60 quid. Go on. I'd love to have can we get a sevens win? Final sevens win would be nice. That real gambler one, the actual fruity machine style one, that one played a bit of a shit actually. That was well below the curve on that one. Slightly disappointing, but this one's been okay, hasn't it? I mean, I am 40 quid down on the session for this recording, but I mean, I've been playing for a decent chunk of time. Remember, I've chopped a bit out as well because I was pausing between the features. Oh, it doesn't look like we're going to do it, does it? I will stop at 60. Go on. Last chance. One more spin. I'm going to have to stop there. Oh, unfortunate, but I've still got 60 quid left in the tank. Anyway, I'll stick the montage on the end and then we'll be done for this one. So thank you very much for watching. do hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch up with you next time. But for now it is goodbye.